Hey guys. So I am Ashtonee Bryant and I am super excited because today I am here with Ashlee from Lenders and Friends. You guys know that I am always talking about how you can raise and leverage more capital. And there are so many resources out there that a lot of you do not know about and you don't understand really just even some of the legal check boxes that you want to make sure that you're checking off as you're stepping into either lending your own money or asking someone else for money. So I brought someone who is absolutely fabulous at doing both. And it's Ashlee. She's the founder of Lenders and Friends. And she's going to talk to us about what some of the red flags are. And we're just going to get into a lot of the questions that a lot of you always have. So, without further ado, Ashlee, go ahead and introduce yourself. I'm excited. Ashlee is actually one of our aligned allies, and she will be at the Press for Press Capital Conference. So I'm excited. Ashlee, introduce yourself and let them know a little bit about you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So, my name is Ashlee Edwards, as Ashtonee mentioned, and I'm the co-founder of Lenders and Friends. And Lenders and Friends is essentially a collective of private money lenders and industry friends. And we come together and we learn how to be better funders of deals, essentially. And those can be real estate based deals, they can be equipment loans, it can be small business loans. There's a variety of private money lenders in this space, and there's a variety of investors who are looking for funds. So we have programming all the time, lots of virtual and live programming. And like Ashtonee said, we will be present in Miami for
Yes.
Press for Press. So I'm excited for that.
Yes, I'm excited too. Okay, you guys. So, I just want to kind of go back to this because with Black Women Raised Capital, right? I believe that there are several forms of capital and not just financially. One of, I think, the most valuable forms that we have is relationship capital. And I believe that if you do not have the relationship capital, it actually is almost impossible to get to the financial capital. So, interesting, quick story. Ashlee and I actually met at a trip out in Dubai. We both had went there to invest out in Dubai, and I immediately recognized that she had such immense value, right? And I did not honestly know where the relationship was even going to go, but I was like, hey, there was just something. So I say all that to say, even being around Ashlee and being able to build our relationship, there have been so many different opportunities and different forms of capital that have come from that and allowed, I feel like, both of us to really grow ourselves and our platforms in different ways. And one thing that I'll say is that Lenders and Friends really like represents that. I'm in the community and I know there have been just questions or things that I've asked, and a lot of people have really been present and transparent in there. And I love that you actually give that safety feel inside a space like that. And so I want to ask you too to kind of tell people a little bit about why you even started Lenders and Friends and how you even keep that core relationship and connection like at the foundation of everything Lenders and Friends does.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've actually never been asked why I started Lenders and Friends, so that's very interesting. Yeah, that's so interesting. So, funny thing, I started the private money lending accelerator because
Mhm.
when I first started doing private money loans, I didn't have the educational opportunities that are available now.
Right.
It kind of fell in my lap. An attorney who was setting up my self-directed IRA is the one that told me about it, and he did the best he could to explain to me what I needed to do based on what he saw his clients doing, but I kind of had to figure it out. And so I was thinking it would be so much more helpful if someone could just jump in with the
Mhm.
same urgency and excitement that I had, dedicate 4 weeks and just be like, "Yeah, because I'm ready to do this." Because that's really what it was. Like, I kept meeting
Yeah.
with this attorney and I was like, "I'm about to do this by the end of the month," kinda thing, and he was like,
Yeah.
You do that," right? He was like, "You do that," and so I wanted to create a resource for people like me who wanted to put their money to work in a different way,
Mhm.
but who also maybe were interested in investing in real estate, and so I did that first cohort, and the people in the cohort were like, "Well, then now what? We
Yeah.
did this 4-week program. Now we're private money lenders, but like, how do we stay in contact? How do we stay connected with each other? Like, what if we need extra help? Like, we need a community." And I was like, "Whoa, like,
You're
thank
like,
you."
"Hold on now."
Right. I was like, "You're
Oh,
doing too much."
Ashley is like, "I so did not sign up for that." I feel like
I
that's your
was like
personality.
I don't know about all that stuff, okay? But they kept saying like, "Well, yeah, we need ongoing support. We need
Yeah,
these conversations." And I was like, I mean, you have valid points. I'm just concerned about, capacity and things.
yeah.
And so I was like, I could actually make this happen if I had someone do it with me, right? If I
Mhm.
had extra support and the whole load wasn't on me, I'm a full-time employee. So I was like, I hear you, but I got to have
A lot of
realistic
stuff. Absolutely.
expectations. Yes. And
Yeah.
so I approached Sam Carter, and
Mhm.
I was like, "Hey, you do equipment loans. I do real estate based loans. You want
Right.
to run a community together? Like we can support people, continue to teach them, educate them." And she was like, "Oh my God, I would love to." And I was like, "That was easy." And then, because I had already had the concept, the name and
Yeah.
everything. And I was like, "Well, I've done most of the work. I just need help, like launching it, and that's
Yes.
how it was born. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Now, I will say what was because I feel like when I learn something new, I'm always like, aha, like even with real estate, like some of the different strategies you can do, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, kind of how you felt with like the private money lending piece. What was it that made kind of like that moment for you of like, oh my goodness, wow, like this could
Yeah.
really be done and more people need to know about.
Yeah, so that actually came for me after my first loan. Like, I wasn't totally sold, really. I heard
Mhm.
what he was saying because he was like, "I'm so proud of you." This is like an old guy. Like, he has tons of clients. I trusted him because he's an attorney, and I mean,
Yeah,
actually, I'm an attorney, so I tend to trust
he
other
is, you guys.
attorneys. Yeah. So he was like, "My billionaire clients are doing something different with their money." And I was just like,
Wow.
"Your billionaire clients?" I was like, "So you look at me and you think I could become a billionaire. That's very interesting." And I was like, that's very interesting. And I'm thinking like there's nothing in it for this guy, right? I've already paid him.
Yeah,
Like he's already setting up my account with the intention for me to do fix and flips. So
right.
him telling me this additional information is only for my benefit. And I was just
Yeah,
like, okay. And I wasn't totally sold because I didn't really get it, right? So he started
right.
explaining it to me and gave me some resources. And I
Mhm.
was like, "All right, in theory." And so he was like, "If it doesn't work out, you can still do your fix and flip. It'll be fine." And I was like, "Okay, well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna try this lending thing and see what's going on." So
right.
my first loan, it wasn't until I was repaid that I was like,
Yeah,
"This
you're
is
like,
this is."
"Ooh, this is a
I was
real
like,
thing."
"This is something else. Okay."
And you didn't do a lot of work. Like,
I
or
did not
you
have to do a lot of
weren't,
work.
yeah.
Yeah, because I was planning to do a flip, right? So I rolled over my old 401k and I was like, I'm going to use this money to do fix and flips because I think that's like the biggest
Yes.
hurdle in real estate investing, the funding, right? And I'm
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
I have funds. I didn't know that I could use those for that. And so I was going to do this. And when I realized like I didn't have to even do as much work as a flip myself, I said, wait a
Mhm.
minute, hold on. So you mean to tell me I could just sit back and wait
And let someone else do it.
and let somebody else
I'm
do the
gonna
hard work.
enjoy this, right?
Yeah,
You are like and I think that's the piece that a lot of people miss, and I think you can look at it at any type of form of capital or private money, right? Is there are really people out there, people like Ashley, right? They're like, "Hey, I have my lane, I have my thing, and but if I could get you to go out and do this really cool thing that I now believe in, right? And you're gonna bring me a return and I don't have to have the headache and all the I will fund this, right? I want to fund this. And so I think so many people just they don't sometimes it's hard to wrap their mind around it. And so, yes, okay, so you guys, we really wanted to make sure you understand those legal due diligence, just questions and steps that you actually ask before you just going out there asking for capital or actually even giving your capital out. So Ashley, I want you to kind of share with us a little bit. What are some of like the common big mistakes that you make first, that you see first time lenders make when they first
Mm.
get into private money lending?
Oh, yeah. So one of the biggest mistakes I see is just a lack of firm boundaries.
Mm,
That's literally like one of the most common mistakes. And how it manifests actually is people with funds, they become private money lenders, and then the first loan they do is to a family member. Now, and the interesting thing about it is we talk about not loaning to consumers, right? We have that
mm,
conversation and, making sure it's a business purpose loan and you're loaning to an entity. But the connection they're not making is even though my uncle has an LLC that he's doing this flip in, it's still
yeah.
my uncle. Like,
Yes.
he's the owner of this LLC. And so I'm still going to be dealing with this human. And that
Yes.
is where the issue comes up, right? It's because your uncle sees you a certain way. Your
Hmm.
uncle is less inclined to honor your agreement because he
Yeah.
thinks he can just sweet talk you into whatever. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest issue that I
Yes.
see.
Y'all know how I feel about it.
It's
Yeah.
so common. My
Yes.
gosh, it's so
Yes.
common. Yeah.
Yeah, people feel entitled because of title, and that is where I feel like we can really let business become way more personal than it should real fast.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it is once they make that first mistake, it starts to domino. It's like
Yeah,
then they throw everything out the window. Now their due diligence isn't as good because it's my uncle. Like he wouldn't lie about blah blah blah. Like I don't need to
yeah,
verify. And it's just like it just gets worse and worse. So that's the very first one. And then after that, I would say a common mistake I see is putting loan documents in their personal name. So
mm,
or directly in the name of their IRA. So you technically can't, like, let's say you're loaning from a self directed IRA. You technically can do the loan directly from the IRA. Like, you can say
yeah,
the lender is whatever IRA for the benefit of Ashlee Edwards. That could be the name of the lender, right?
right,
But the problem with that is that it exposes not only all of the assets in the IRA to whatever liability is associated with that loan, but it could also be exposing your personal assets to whatever
yes,
liability is associated with that loan. And so instead of paying the extra money or taking the extra step to set up an entity within the IRA to kind of
mhm,
isolate that liability, people will just loan directly from the IRA. And
right.
it's not like it's not horrible. It's just it's not the most protective way to do it.
Measure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And I talk to my audience a lot. And honestly, that is one big thing that we're going to talk a lot about, like even at the event, at the live event, is because one thing that we don't do, I feel like enough as Black women, but as a Black community, and especially as founders, CEOs, like creatives, and when it comes to building wealth, is protecting our assets, protecting our IP, our intellectual like just protecting ourselves. That's using wisdom. So I think that it's a lot of some of one of the first steps should definitely be in like, what does that look like? Right? Like, how do you want to go into this when you're building a business, no matter what it is? How are you going to protect it? So I think that's so good. Now, for you, what are some documents that you feel like people they always come up short with, or they don't think about that they really should have prepared, or look for the person who they're lending to have prepared, like on both sides of it?
Yeah, I think some of the things that come up when in the due diligence phase
Yeah.
from the borrower side is I see this a lot. They don't have an operating agreement. Like I don't know what it is. People just like don't have an operating agreement. And it's not just single member LLCs.
No.
It's multi-member LLCs. Like they don't have it or they never signed it. And I'm just like, or it's incomplete. Like they'll have it, but the last page doesn't state who funded what at the beginning of the creation of the entity. And I'm just like, so you just never finished the process, right? And so I don't know
Right.
what the rules are of this entity, right? I don't even know if you have signing authority. I don't even know if
Mm,
you have the ability to sign off on this loan, right?
yes.
And so
And
it's
your
some of
attorney, guys, can help you with your operating agreement when establishing your LLC if they do. But operating
yeah.
agreements are simple. They're important.
They're simple. And
Yeah.
I know that companies like LegalZoom will give you a template. Like, so my thing
Yes.
is like, if they gave you a template, you could have at least filled it out and signed it at a minimum, you know? Maybe it's not the most protective. Maybe it's not exactly what you wanted to say, but I mean, you could
Yeah.
have looked at it. So it's the operating agreement, it's the signing authority, the security instrument. So sometimes what I see private lenders doing is, they're feeling rushed or they're
Mm,
feeling pressure and they don't actually make sure that the loan is secured. They may be relying on the borrower to do it. So maybe the fix and flipper or whoever is saying, oh, I got you. I'm going to make sure I record it instead of hiring a title escrow company to make sure that it's done
right.
before they get the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they say they're going to do it and then they never do it. And then something goes wrong and now they can't really enforce this.
Wow.
All they have is a promissory note, but they don't actually have a lien on the property, and, like, it just gets really messy.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things I see, but there's tons, honestly. There's insurance
Yeah.
gaps, like, there's just lacking paperwork between the contractors and vendors,
Right.
and there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay. So now I can definitely understand that because I can even see it from the perspective. I mean, even when I started to reach out and have to do things like hard money loans and things like that, some of what you're mentioning are a lot of the things that I had to learn the hard way, or it was like, no, go back there and redo. Like, lucky that someone would tell me those things. So, yes, you guys, things like your operating agreement and making sure that you have all those docs just in order, who's signing, all of that is important. And this is why I say, like, the foundation of our business is super, super important because if you want to really scale to the level that you could and that will actually provide you with that long-term wealth, I think that you have to already have a foundational, like, something into play that really supports that. We can only wing it for so long.
And, you start to see patterns, right? Like, so as many times as I've requested funding, I started to notice a lot of these places were asking for the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
by the time the 3rd lender asked me for my track record, I was like, "Look, I'm just gonna have a running document, okay? And
yeah,
Imma update it regularly because clearly this is something that is a document that they always ask for."
yes,
And so just having everything organized and in one place, especially if you know they're gonna ask, like, don't be
yeah.
scrambling at the last minute to make your track record when you could just have it prepared. Yeah.
Yes, yep. Listen, oh my goodness, yes. So now speaking of that, let's switch to the side for those that are, say, the ones that are out there and they're like, okay, well, I need to get a private money loan, or they're out there looking to try to fund a project for real estate or business equipment, whatever it may be. First, kind of go into what are some different things that borrowers can actually use private money lending for that they may not know, as well as what do they need to make sure, like, what are the top 3 to 4 things that they definitely wanna make sure that they have in place before even approaching, a private money lender?
Yeah, it's funny because you started this conversation talking about relationship capital, and
Mhm,
the thing about private money, like true private money, is that the
mhm.
relationship does matter. Like, it's not common that we are funding loans for people that we have no connection to. Like, that's just not, it's
Yeah.
not that common. Like, you either know them through someone or they were
Mhm.
introduced through someone or you met them in a group or whatever. It's not like you can just go apply on Chase online and get
Right.
funding. Like, that's not how it
Yes.
works, right? Like, they're
Yep.
going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to catch your vibe or whatever.
Yes.
And so I think, like you said, I've heard you say multiple times,
Yeah.
you need to be looking for funding before you need it. And I think
Yes.
that's where the relationship comes in. It's like, just be constantly building relationships with funders if you know you're
Yes.
eventually going to need funding.
Yep.
Like, I think that's the very first thing.
Mhm.
The second thing is making sure you have your ducks in a row. And so there's layers to this. So the first layer I would say is what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
the number of people who come and don't actually know what they want or what they're doing is is irritating. I would
Yes,
say
y'all,
that.
and Ashley is an attorney, so she will be irritated.
So I'm just like, what's the plan? Like, tell me the plan, okay?
What's the plan? Yes.
So understanding what the plan is, what is the backup plan? But to answer your question, the things you can get funding for. So if you are a business owner, you can get funding to expand your operations. You can get funding because you need to purchase new things. Maybe you need to launch an event or something. You can get funding for
Yeah.
all those things. You can get funding for equipment for your business. I have received loan requests from trucking companies. They wanted to add
Yeah.
another truck to their fleet. Hair salon owners, they need to buy new shampoo bowls because now they're renting out booths or whatever it
Right.
is. Medical offices, they need to get a new MRI machine. Like there's just
Mhm.
all kinds of loans you can do. And then, of course, real estate. Like there are
Yes.
private lenders who actually will fund the mortgage for the property. So, like the long term purchase or acquisition of the property. And then there's lenders who will just fund the rehab on a flip. There's funders who will fund the purchase of furniture for an Airbnb. Like, it could be a lot of
It's
things,
wild,
and
y'all.
yeah, it could be a lot of different things, and
Yes.
people often ask, like, "Well, why would I use private money when I can use hard money?" And the funny thing is you cannot always use hard money. Like,
No.
I went to go get a hard money loan for a rehab that I'm about
I've
to
had
do
an
in
experience.
Ohio, and they were like, "Our minimum loan amount is 100,000. Like, if you
Mhm.
need less than 100,000, we cannot help you." And I was like, "But
Because
I don't
they
need."
make money off of selling money, y'all. I'm telling you, people want to sell you money. They wanna sell
Yeah.
you money. But I think what you said first is, "What's the plan?" That's where a lot of people fail. So that is no, seriously, like, but people wanna sell you money. So yes, go on, but yes, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they were like, so I have a duplex and I've already renovated the top unit with my own funds. And so for the bottom unit, I was like, let me just see if I can get a loan
Yeah.
to renovate the bottom unit. I already have a tenant in the top unit, but I don't need $100,000. Like, dang, can I just get 50? Like, they were
Right.
like, no,
No.
the minimum is 100. So then I was like, fine, let me go talk to some other hard money lenders. I went to a broker that I normally use, and she was like, "Oh, no, like, a lot of our, hard money lenders have increased their minimum to 100,000." I said, "Well, dang, okay. I guess if you need less than $100,000, what is your only option? Credit cards, private money lenders,
Right.
like, or just fund it yourself?" Because not even
Mhm.
all real estate rises to the cost of $100,000. You may be
Yeah.
buying something at an auction and
Yes.
wanting to rehab it, and the purchase and rehab doesn't even add up to $100,000. I mean, you can use it for a lot of different business purposes, and
Mhm.
sometimes alternative funding methods like a conventional loan or a bank loan or even a hard money loan are just not available for what you need, right? If you want to
Right.
buy a vending machine, you need $3,000. What are you going to do? You can either put it on a credit card and pay 30%.
Right,
And
exactly,
yep,
or yeah, you
or you
can get
can
private
get
money and pay a flat fee, y'all.
right, exactly. So, I think those are some of the use cases. I mean, there's tons though, like, there's so
Right,
many. Yeah.
yeah. So now what are some red flags that borrowers miss from private money lenders?
That's a good question. So, I'm seeing in these Facebook groups, I'm in, like, so many private lending Facebook groups, and people are complaining about the private lenders, and I'm like they keep saying things like, "Oh, there's that's not a real lender, it's a scam," and I'm trying to figure
Mhm.
out what it is. Like, I'm like, "How can
Yeah,
someone giving you money be a scam?" But it could be it could be, like, some kind of weird, like, phishing attempt, like, "Oh, send
yes,
me 20
your
and I'll stick."
social or something. Yeah, yes, like that.
It could be something like that, but I'm really trying to figure out, like, what does that look like? But what I would say is if you are looking for funding and you are working with a lender, if they're not clear on their loan box or their lending box, I think that is a red flag, right?
Mhm,
Because not every private lender serves every state and not every private lender serves every type of loan.
mhm.
So, if they're not upfront about what it is that they do and where they
Yeah,
do it, you might end up wasting your time because it
Time.
may get so far down the line and then they're like, "Oh, wait, I can't do a loan in Ohio." And it's like,
Mhm.
"Bro, why didn't you tell me that in the beginning?"
Exactly.
You
And
know?
speed is everything on a lot of deals for borrowers. I know that that's a huge thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that could be a red flag. Another red flag is if I guess they're shifty about whether they have the funds. So
Mm.
if you're in a conversation and they're not really sure, or they're like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be getting paid back on this other date." It's like, nah, I need to know that you already have it, right? And another one, so if you're doing a loan where there's like a drawdown schedule,
Okay.
I would require like, what I would ask for if I were a borrower working with a private lender, I would want to see proof that the funds are there so
Yes.
that later in the transaction when I need them, you ain't telling me that you didn't gave the funds out to somebody else, okay? And
Yes.
in some
POF,
way,
proof of funds.
proof
Yes.
of funds, but you can actually fix this by working with an escrow company. So you
Mm-mm.
can have the lender put the full amount of the funds in escrow and
Okay.
create escrow conditions for the drawdown, right? So then you don't even have to worry about, if they have the money or if they gave the money away. But I've also heard complaints about that.
Wow. Okay. See, I didn't even know that about that last one. So that's good to know. That's really good to know. Okay. So, you guys, this is really good stuff. And this is going to be a lot of what we're talking about at the event in April, April 23rd, 24th, 25th, Press for Press. Our first day is all about permission, you actually understanding the permission that you already have. Day two is really about stepping into that power. And then day three is really about actually building a portfolio and actually protecting your assets and your wealth and not just letting your money sit, but letting it continue to move for you. And so Ashley is going to be somebody that is so important to learn from, to like listen to, and all of the things because eventually you're going to need to be at that point where money is literally working for you without you having to do all the extra things and things that you're not even trying to do. Kind of like, but Ashley, because you were following what God was telling you to do, I feel like He sent someone your way, saying, just swing in and help you. And now you've created this awesome community. So I love that. I love it. And so you guys will get to get more from Ashley. But Ashley, I also, before we kind of wrap up on this topic, I want you to kind of share with them a little, tell us a little bit more about the private money lending accelerator and even just that piece of it, what they really kind of get out of that and learn, and anything else, honestly, that you would kind of love to leave or go into for them.
Yeah, I can share about that. So just to start out, an accelerator is exactly how it sounds. It's fast. It's not self-paced. I have to always say that because people are like, "Well, I could do it's 4 weeks, but could I do it in 6 months?" I'm like, "Okay."
Right.
It's an accelerator. Okay. So the
Ashley is
goal,
going to want you to execute, okay? She's
I'm
going to hold
going
you
to
accountable.
that's correct, right? Because my thing is like wealth loves speed. And I feel like the more a person pushes things out, the more they drag it out, the more they overthink,
Yeah.
the less likely it is that anything's gonna happen. And so
Yep.
I didn't want to create a self-paced course. We do have one. We have a membership
Mhm.
level that includes a self-paced course, but my preference is just to do an accelerator,
Yes.
get your first loan while you're in it,
Yes.
or shortly thereafter. And so it's 4 weeks long. We meet twice a week for an hour and a half each meeting. It's virtual, so anyone anywhere in the country can do it. And we decide on the times based on who's in the cohort. And we're going over everything from literally conception, like what am I even trying to do, right? Like what kind of
Mm.
loans do I want to do? All
Right.
the way to the full transaction, even down to what documents do I need and creating those documents and having them ready. What does my risk management plan look like? What even is my risk
Yes.
tolerance?
Mhm.
How much am I loaning? What types of loans am I doing? Am I doing equipment loans? Am I doing real estate loans? What state am I lending in or what two states am I lending in?
Yeah.
All the questions answered. That is what we do in the accelerator. And so the idea is that if you attend all 8 sessions, and technically, I mean, there's technically 12 sessions because there's a bonus session each week, but it's
Right.
it's optional. But if you attend all if you
Like
attend
it's
all the sessions,
optional.
It's
Okay.
optional, it's optional. If you attend all the sessions and do all the homework, by the
Yeah.
end, you should have a full business created for this. You should have a full business plan, a risk management plan, a marketing plan, all your contract templates. You should be ready to go. And we've had people
Yeah.
do loans while in the accelerator, right? They're like, look, I'm already
Wow.
here. I might as well just jump in and get to it. And I'm like, I agree with you. Okay. Just
Exactly.
jump
I
in.
love it. Yes, and
Yeah,
that's
and
huge.
so that's how the accelerator works, and then it includes 2 one-on-one consultations with me before it starts, and then it also includes a full year in Lenders and Friends. So you're a paid member
Love
for a
it.
full year. You have access to all your recordings. You have access to all of our resources. We have templates
Yeah.
and videos and tons of stuff. But yeah, that's the accelerator.
I love it, love it, love it. Yes, y'all. Okay, so now you did say something though, and I want to kind of hit on just a bit about how you said people will avoid and they just like they won't do things. It won't happen. And so I know a huge thing for my audience is in overthinking, right? We have the resources, we have all the things, but you guys know I believe that it's really more so of a capacity problem, an access problem, but also an accountability problem too. And so you need the support. That's why community, but valuable community is so important to really keep you going. But also, we do just get to a phase where we won't get out of our heads. So I will say though, what would you say to the woman or whoever is watching right now and they're like, "Man, I never knew I could lend with my IRA or this or that." Like, but I'm kind of scared of that. Where do I go? Like, what would you say to them on like just get out there and get started to really push them?
Yeah, that's a hard question. So transparently, I was scared too. Like when
Really?
this guy was like, give your money to somebody,
But how she said, I said, "Huh?
I
Like, give
said,
my
huh?
money?"
You mean like send it to them? Like what? And
How
so
many loans though have you done? Look, she can't even remember, y'all.
I've done a lot of loans. I've done maybe, I'm gonna say maybe like 28 to 30 loans I've done.
Wow. Yeah.
And I've done various loan terms. Like I've done a 1 day loan, I've done a 1 week loan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So in my first loan, I was actually terrified and I didn't tell anybody because I was scared. And I was like, what if this was stupid and then people laugh at me? So I'm just going to wait
They
until
gonna
I
be
get my
like,
money
"Girl,
back.
look at you."
Right. Exactly. So I was like, I'm not going to say nothing. Only me and this attorney know what I did. Okay. And I'm going to wait until I get my first payment and then I will talk about it. And that's what I did. It was a 6 week loan and I was terrified. I had anxiety the whole time because I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like, am I foolish? Like, so I can understand the fear, but what I think is really behind that is what, like, a lack of education, right? Because, like,
Yes.
I didn't have the same kind of structure in my learning that I'm offering to people, right? It was
Yeah.
literally just some man that I don't know telling
Right.
me you could do this and then helping me get my contracts and stuff in order and then me doing random research on the internet and
Yeah.
just being like, is this for me? Like, am I stepping out of line here? So like I can understand the fear, but I think if you equip yourself with the right information, get around the right people who have done what it is that you want to do,
Mhm.
and then sometimes you just got to compartmentalize. Like people
Yep.
these days are so in their feelings, right? Like we are
Yeah.
so emotional, and it's not
Yeah.
actually a bad thing. I think it's
Mm,
just improperly leveraged. Like
yeah.
put all that stuff over there because that ain't got nothing to do with this money we got to make. Okay.
Yes.
I
Y'all,
feel like
listen,
some of that needs to
that
be.
is the thing. Yes, that is the thing. I think that is so true, and like you said, here's also my take on it. This is how I feel, y'all. I am ready for us to stop giving everything else a whole bunch of chances and tries that actually, as a matter of fact, you know it's not gonna work, right? Whether it's relationships or businesses, partnerships, whatever the case may be, even spending your money in certain places and spaces. And you actually already know it is not beneficial or an asset to you, but you do it with no fear,
No
right?
fear.
But you will not go and invest in an asset or even take a chance on coming up with a great idea that someone else could invest in you, right? Or building that relationship in new rooms. So it is so important. I do think that like it gets to that point where you just have to do it. So,
You just have to do it, like, and you learn so much in the doing, right?
yes.
And it may be painful, like, when I was waiting that 6 weeks to get repaid, trust and believe, I was in pain, okay? My chest was tight.
Listen, real estate deals, I tell people all the time, up until you tell me, matter of fact, because I've had this happen, until I see it in my account, it's not done. It's not
Yeah,
closed and funded because it's like this thing that just happens in my stomach and just it's a roller coaster ride. And y'all, and it's every time, even with
yeah,
raising capital, like I'm right on the money of we have to be done and have this done by like tomorrow, but it's not going to be easy, but you do like the more you do, the more you actually learn. And I say that a lot, like I think real estate, financial, even all these industries, you learn more by actually doing because a lot of the strategies, I will say it, there are some things where you kind of like when you never knew about it, you're like, wait a minute, like it can feel too good to be true at times. But I think it's important that we just step out into it. And I did want to say one more thing too, because you said something good about you even feeling like, give somebody my money, kind of like it was a weird thing, right? And so sometimes we can feel like we're doing something wrong by even like getting money or making money that way because subconsciously you've always made income through a job, right? So, or through just one
yeah,
way of actually making money. So when you do something like that, your nervous system is like, And so I just wanted to throw
yeah,
that in there because your brain does not know if you're running from a lion or if you just loan $100,000, but you're going to get
right,
120,000 or whatever back. So it's like,
right,
just
yeah,
remember that, and I think that's why too for us, even at the event, but just Black Women Raise Capital as a brand, the energetic capital piece to me was so important because that was what I had to go through when I was raising capital, and that's why when you said, "What do you wanna do?" I felt that because I have had to, like, be honest with myself in a lot of times because the only way I was gonna raise the money was by going deeper and recognizing that, like, okay, I've got to expand my capacity to receive, but also to give. And that does not
yeah,
look like taking on more. It actually looks like removing a lot of the extra things and just stepping into something new. So,
yeah. I love that.
yes.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Ashley, for being here with us today. Super, super excited about just everything you shared. It's going to be great to have you at the event. Is there anything else that before we wrap up that you would like to last minute just kind of share with everyone or leave everyone with? Also, don't forget to let us know where we can follow you.
Yeah. Okay. So you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at Lenders and Friends, and it's spelled LNDRSNFRNDS. I know it's a lot. It's basically
I'm going to
lenders.
tag it though too in the show
Yes.
notes. So we will, yes. I should have told you that we will be tagging this in the show notes as well. So,
Yes. So Facebook and Instagram, and then of course our website. We'll put that in there too.
yes.
And I guess my last comment is just I mean, I once heard that we only live once, you know? And why not just make it a full life? Honestly, like this is literally why I started investing, not
Real.
just for the freedom and for the ability to like take care of my mom and things like
Yeah.
that. I don't have kids yet, but that's important too. But I was also just like, why not? Like I see
Yeah.
other people living a life that I feel like I should be able to access. And if the
Yes.
break between where I am now and the life that I want to live is investing, then I'm across the bridge? Like
Yes.
the worst that can happen is I fall off, I get back up or I slip, I don't know, but we'll figure it out because we've figured it out up till now, right? Like you're still here,
Exactly.
you ain't die, like you're good. So that's what I would leave you with.
It's just like you ain't died, you're good.
You're good. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. And I have always been that person too. It's like, well, if somebody else is doing it, why could I not do it? So that is
Yeah.
my attitude at the end of the day. So, well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful, grateful, grateful. I hope you guys got a lot from this. And of course, make sure that you grab your tickets, get on the list, and join us in Miami so that you guys can learn more about all the different things finances, real estate, raising capital, private money, all of it. And make sure that you're following Ashlee and that you keep up with the things that she has coming with Lenders and Friends.